Welcome to The Light at the End of the Ocean, a game developed and published by Jane Tyder, released back in July this year, 2020. And as the Steam page tells us, a young woman wakes up in a lighthouse with a head injury and no memory of the shipwreck that brought her there, or anything else for that matter. A stone-faced, stoic lighthouse keeper assures her that help will arrive soon, but seems unwilling or unable to help her figure out whom or where she is. This is a visual novel with point-and-click elements, the goal being to help our guest figure out the mysteries of the island and its inhabitants, and her own mysteries too. Let's begin. The ocean is a lonely place to be. A vast expanse of nothingness, it seems. But peer into the distance and you'll see. Atop an island cliff, a lighthouse gleams. The island's shores, composed of jagged rocks, are treacherous to each small passing boat. Their sailors bound for farther, safer docks. The tower's warning keeps these ships afloat. So on the light the keeper spends her days, in solitary sleep and wakes at night, to shine a beam through ocean fog and haze, her solemn duty to the sacred light. And though our stalwart keeper does her best, this morn a grave mistake has brought a guest. Oh, that was cool. That was a very Shakespearean. Two women stand on the rocky shore of the island in a light film of rain. The lighthouse keeper is stock still, her work boots planted firmly on the ground. Her guest, on the other hand, is perpetually slightly off balance, swaying on the slippery and uneven terrain. In front of them lie several battered planks of wood. Wow, it's beautiful here. You don't think so? Been here a long time. Got used to it. Those bits of wood, is that what's left of my boat? Uh-huh. Was it a wooden boat? Guess so. Was it like a canoe or something? Right, I guess you didn't really see it. I can imagine canoeing. I think that's something I've done before. On holiday, maybe. Not sure why I would do it alone, though. I hope it comes back to me soon. It should. I guess that's all I wanted to see here. What do you want to do now? What can I do? You said, what, five days until your supply guy with the boat arrives? Something like that. Do you have some books I could read? Actually, maybe you're not supposed to read when you have a concussion. Any board games we could play, maybe? Later. Got some work to do for now. Work? Isn't your job being a lighthouse keeper? What work do you have to do during the day? General maintenance and things. Right, well, I guess I'll figure something out. This way. They turn back towards the weather-beaten lighthouse that looms over them from an outcropping of rock and brace themselves to climb the slick stone steps that lead to its old oak door. The light at the end of the ocean. This is a nice, cozy little kitchen. I think I might have an apartment a little like this once. Maybe I just wanted one. The light is on the top floor, obviously. Make yourself at home. Yeah, I guess I will. Not that I know what being at home is like right now. Alright. Blueberry, raspberry, ginseng, sleepy time. So there are a lot of different flavors here. Various teas and the like. These must be some of the supply crates the guy in the boat brings. This is a real wood-burning stove? I don't think I've ever seen one except in movies. Guess it's hard to get electricity running on a rock in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, I'd imagine so. So... let's go upstairs. Oh? Okay, so we get a choice, just in case. Alright, let's go upstairs. Wow, I'm not looking great. Not that I can remember what I normally look like, but I hope it's not quite this bad. I don't even want to look again. What's this doing here? It looks like a ticket for a bus tour. Can't imagine there are any of those around here. Fomorian Day Tours, Northern Ireland. Looks like the tour starts at the Europa Hotel in Belfast. The guest peers more closely at the ticket, searching for more information, but the majority of the lettering is illegibly smudged. As she moves to replace the ticket on the nightstand, she feels a sudden jolt of warmth in her fingers where she touched it, and her vision swims into nothingness. Whoa! Two women step onto a tour bus a few minutes apart. Oh, hello! The wistful wanderer makes herself comfortable in a seat towards the back. Through the window she sees the ornate facade of a large hotel. The tender-hearted tourist takes time to examine all of her seating options before approaching the woman in the back. I learned on the other bus tour yesterday that that hotel was the most bombed building during the Troubles. So I've heard. Yeah, apparently it was one of the few hotels in the city. So it was where a lot of journalists stayed, and that's why they targeted it, I guess. My name's Emma. Can I sit here? Sure, I'm Miara. The wanderer shifts even closer to the window as the tourist takes her seat. Are you traveling alone too? I guess I am today. I'm staying with relatives, but they sent me off on this tour while they're working. The tourist catches a hint of dejection in the wanderer's tone. Wonders if they might be able to relate to each other. I was supposed to be traveling with a friend, but then she got sick or something and I got an earlier flight. It's weird. We spent so much time planning to do all these things together. She really wanted to see the Giant's Causeway. Now she's back home, I guess, but she's barely even replied to my messages since she left. It's really weird being here alone. The wanderer thinks for a moment before replying. She went home because she wasn't feeling well. How far away does she live? She's from Oklahoma. It's like a 12-hour flight or something. She must have been really sick. Yeah. Or she really didn't want to spend another minute with me, which is a kind of theory I'm leaning towards. The wanderer chuckles. Well, I only just met you, but you don't seem bad enough to drive somebody out of the country to me. Thanks. The bus starts up and the driver's muffled voice on the speaker announces their departure for the tour's first stop, Carrickfergus Castle. The tourist smiles in anticipation of the journey. So where are you from? Dublin. You? Canada, near Toronto. Dublin was lovely. I really liked how the river ran straight through downtown. My friend and I got fish and chips wrapped up in newspaper and sat by the river eating it the first night we were here before everything. Yeah, it's nice. You said you were visiting relatives? My aunt and uncle. They live in a small town not too far from here. I think it would be nice to live in a place like that, out in the country. The wanderer stares silently at her companion, as if searching her face for a sign. Of kindness, perhaps. Or of capacity for understanding. Eventually she finds it. I don't know. It seems a little depressing to me. We went out to a pub and they knew half the people in there and had to chat with them all. My cousin was worried about how it might be awkward if she ran into one of her students' parents again. She's a teacher? Her and my aunt both. We lived together and walked to work together every morning. When my uncle worked some kind of office job here in the city, he drove me in today and the traffic was awful and the songs on the radio were repetitive and I don't know how he deals with that as his routine every day. I know what you mean. I don't want my life to become mundane like that either. I guess that's why I try to travel when I can. I don't know if any of us can avoid it though. We have to get a job or else we can't afford anything. And how many jobs are actually interesting? Yeah? How many people are actually happy to go into work and not just silently resigned to it at best? And speaking from experience, even if it starts out that way, these things have a tendency to just... Over time, you just become silently resigned to it. Even if it's something that you really enjoyed doing at first. Wanderer stops herself from continuing her tirade, suddenly realizing that it may have been too much to say to a stranger. Because they say do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life, but that's a lie. Do something you love, and it will just become... You'll just grow to love it less because you'll have to do it, instead of just doing it as a hobby. Instead of just being a reward for getting through the daily grind. Instead of being a bit of free time you do to unwind from your day, it becomes your day. And that's inevitably draining. I don't know. I try not to think about it. Yeah, I've tried to. Concern and compassion in the tourist's eyes compel the wanderer to continue regardless of decorum. I'm not just on holiday. My parents sent me to stay with my relatives because I'm not doing well. My girlfriend broke up with me and it's been really hard. Guess they think the country air would be good for me or something. Oh. I mean, you told me something personal about you and your friend, so it only seemed fair to be honest with you too. After a moment that feels endless to the wanderer, the tourist responds with a sympathetic smile. Thanks. I mean, I appreciate it. I hope this trip is as helpful as your parents think it will be. This tour sounds like it will be nice, at least. Looking forward to seeing the Giant's Causeway. Two women relax into their seats as the bus rolls out of the city. Oh. Whoa. Oh, here you are. Work's done for the day. You want to tour the island or something? We can take a look at how the light works if that's something you're interested in. She looks at the guest expectantly as the guest slowly takes in her restored surroundings. I feel like I just had a dream, or a vision. Oh no, I picked up this bus ticket, and suddenly my hand felt really hot, and... Oh, yeah, that's how it works here. You'll get used to it. What? What? This really isn't a normal island. Hard to explain. You'll figure it out anyway. There's a process to it. Now, do you want to go see the rest of the island, or look at the light? Let's go look at the light. I guess I want to go look at the light. Alright, you go on ahead. See you upstairs. Bus ticket, huh? That one's new. Keeper arrives at the top of the wooden ladder to see the guest marveling at the giant lantern that dominates the room. Outside the panels of glass that make up the walls, the sea, now much calmer than it was during the morning storm, stretches out into the distance. Wow. Yeah, nice view. The light, too. It's such an interesting shape. The ridges and things make it easier to see from far away. I wonder how far. Somehow, I didn't see it. At least I can't imagine I did. Why would I have crashed if I had seen it? You didn't. It wasn't on. Malfunctioning. Oh. Well, that gives me a little more confidence in my boating ability, then. It should always be on at night. It was a terrible mistake. Well, if it malfunctioned, that can't be anyone's fault. That's bound to happen once in a while. I survived, so seems like everything's fine, right? I'm sure I'll recover from the concussion soon. Yeah, you will. Oh, sunrise? Oh, sunset, pardon. The sky outside the lighthouse begins to darken and change color with the first hints of sunset. It seems a little early for the sun to go down. Not that I really know what time it is, I guess, but I didn't feel like it was that late. It's always earlier than you expect here. What do you need to do to make sure the light is working? Keep an eye on the paraffin levels in the reservoir. Checked that earlier. Then pump the air container regularly to keep the fuel moving and burning. How often is regularly? Paraffin type of wax, I believe. Once an hour or so. Once you get used to it, you can tell when it's time. It's been hard to get used to at first. Did you learn from another Lighthouse Keeper? Something like that. It's wax derived from petroleum. Interesting. What do you mean? It's complicated. Hard to explain. Oh. It's getting dark. Time to get all this stuff working. Let's help. Do you need any help with it? No, but thank you for offering. No problem. I guess since I don't know what to do, I'd probably get in the way. It's not that, it's just... Maybe you can learn another time, if you really want to. Sure. If I'm hanging out here for a while anyways, I may as well make myself useful. You don't need to work to be useful. Well, have a good night. You too. The guest glances at the sunset through the glass once more before descending to her bedroom for the night. And the light comes on. In the middle of the night, the guest stands in the kitchen, sipping a glass of water as she looks out the window at the dark blue sea. She strains her eyes to catch a glimpse of the distant boats each time the rotating beam of light from above sweeps by. Oh, you startled me. Aren't you busy with the light? Just to fill the reservoir now. It's fine. Did you come for a glass of water too? I'll grab you a... No, it's alright. The two women reach toward the cupboard at the same time. Their hands brush against each other for a moment. The keeper leaps away as if she had received an electric shock. Are you okay? She does not look happy. The keeper disappears without a word, leaving the guest alone in the darkness. Sorry? And the guest's anxieties eventually allow her some sleep, and is fitful and haunted by strange dreams. The only detail she remembers upon awakening is an image of two giants locked in mortal combat, while balancing on basalt columns rising out of the sea. That and a glimpse of a man with a scepter and a wide-brimmed hat, giving her a quizzical look and saying, "You shouldn't be here." The strange man dissolves as the guest is awoken by footsteps coming from above. Half asleep, she hears the keeper muttering something nonsensical to herself as she passes through the stairs. To go out there and tell that snake-obsessed creep that his golden sandals look stupid, always showing up here just... Too tired to be curious, the guest rolls over and goes back to sleep, awakening again later on to sunlight flooding the room. She stumbles out of bed and looks for the keeper, reasoning that company, however standoffish and strange that company may be, is preferable to solitude in this bizarre new world. Hello? Not here either. Maybe she's outside. What the hell? Guest struggles in vain to open the lighthouse's towering oak door. I'm locked in. Why would she... What? Why would a lighthouse need a door that locks from the outside? What the... Begins to search the room for any hope of escape. Oh boy. So Keeper left and locked us in. Nothing in here apart from a bunch of different kinds of tea. Like in these crates except the food. Probably be a pretty clever place to hide a key, but I don't see anything. Nothing under the pillow or anything. Wish I could just look in the mirror and then find what I'm searching for in my pocket. There's a reference to something. Why do I remember that? That's a bus ticket from yesterday. What's going on then? She didn't drug me or something, did she? Excuse to go upstairs some more. If she was going to hide a key, it would make sense for it to be in her room, right? Oh. Looks really old. Wonder who these people are. Maybe her grandparents or something. Seems like it was taken at a party. As the guest examines the photograph, she feels a familiar warmth in her hand and loses sight of her surroundings again. A distressed debutante stands on a balcony, struggling to light a cigarette with shaking hands. Inside the house, a brooding bachelor calls her name. Rose? Rose? The bachelor emerges onto the balcony. He stops short of joining the debutante at the railing, instead lingering by the door. There you are. Are you all right? What do you think, Edwin? She addresses him without turning around. I'm so sorry, Rose. I was going to talk to you soon. I just wanted everyone to have fun tonight like old times. I didn't mean to upset you. But you know I can't marry you, Rose. And why not? You know what I am. Of course I know that. I've known you were in love with Cecil ever since you first introduced me to him, the way you looked at him. What does that matter? The man takes a step forward towards his friend. I can't change, Rose. I didn't expect you to change. I just thought we could be happy, in a way. Happier than some couples I've met. You could be happy with a man who can't love you? Not in the way a husband should? Plenty of women's husbands don't love them. You would at least like me. We'd have each other for companionship. You could be so much happier than that, Rose. You could find someone who really wants to be with you, who... The debutante whirls around to look the bachelor in the eye for the first time. Think it's any easier for me? Think I'm any different from you? I know you are. You love me, don't you? But you're the only man everyone else has. I know it doesn't seem that way now. If you love me, you can love another man someday. You can be happy, Rose. So much happier with someone else. Besides, I was called up yesterday. Oh. A single tear escapes the woman's eye in the heavy silence. But you'll fight it, won't you? What's the use? They haven't let any of us escape from it so far. But you won't go to war? You can't, No, I have another plan. I've been thinking about it a lot, really. But I'll tell you later. Come back to the party, Rose. It might be the last time we all see each other for a long time. The woman makes an earnest attempt to smile as her friend leads her back into the house. Oh, we're back downstairs. Are you ready to... There you are. What the hell's going on? Sorry. Why did you lock me in the lighthouse today? What's that happening with these weird visions? Are you causing them somewhere? Guest advances on the Keeper despite her disorientation. No, it's just... you were locked in. Keeper stands her ground, apparently unconcerned by her guest's aggression. Like some kind of prisoner. That shouldn't have happened. They're right, it shouldn't have. No, it wasn't intentional. Things just happen here sometimes. You probably noticed that already. I've noticed this place is really weird, yeah. Must have been really worried when you were locked in. Yeah, I was. Where were you? Just walking around the island. Sorry. You weren't supposed to be locked in. Didn't mean to. Well, thanks, I guess. I guess let's go over some of the tension in her body, but not without some lingering wariness of her companion. You still haven't had a tour of the island? No. Want to do that then? Don't you can explain? Yeah, why don't we even try? Of course you're not. There's a process to how things happen here. Trying to explain prematurely won't help anyone. It all makes sense before you leave. The guest shakes her head in resignation. I guess all I can do is take your word for it. Please. Yeah, whatever. You seem genuine enough. I just wish... Doesn't matter. Give me the tour. Thank you. Go ahead. Meet you there. Why would you lock her in? What was the point of that? What an awful... The keeper joins her guest outside the lighthouse, locking the old oak door behind her. The rain of the previous day has stopped. The wind has picked up, and the guest rubs her arms to keep warm. You've already seen the North Shore, where you crashed. Let's face the south. She leads the guest in the opposite from the stair. From the stairs they climbed before, down a much shallower slope towards the opposite shore. Not really much to give a tour of, is there? It's a pretty small island. Yeah, well, still pays to know your way around. Just know it pretty well. How long have you been there? Dunno. What? You don't know? As a joke. It's just been a long time. It's not very interesting to talk about. Right. Let's talk. So what do you do when you're not working? Huh? Like you must have a lot of spare time here and there, and no one to talk to. Because you get a lot of idiots crashing their boats. If the job's done properly, no one ever crashes. Right, sorry. It was just a joke. But you must do something in your spare time, right? Do you like to read? Yeah. What's your favorite book? The Sign of the Four, Arthur Conan Doyle. Oh yeah, Sherlock Holmes, right? Yeah. It's a classic. Before too long, they arrive at a rocky shore similar to the one on the other side of the island. The only noticeable difference between them is that rather than a smattering of pieces of wood on the rocks, this site has a neatly constructed dock stretching out into the water. This side of the island is much safer for boats to dock. So this is where the supply guy will turn up? Maybe. It depends on which side of the island he's coming from. And over here's the archive. The archive? Oh. The guest turns to where the keeper is pointing and sees a small cottage, half embedded in the hill, so that it's barely visible from the other side. Archive of what? We'll see when the archivist gets back. Should be soon. It's getting late though. Time to turn on the light. Oh, sunset came quickly. Again. Hang on. I thought she said this side was the south. The guest sighs and follows the keeper back up the hill, the disorienting sunset at her back. Don't have much in the way of answers right now. Just more questions. Keeper gazes out at the ocean from the top of a tower, her face illuminated unevenly by the glow of the lantern. Her eyes remain fixated on the horizon, even as soft footsteps reach the top of the ladder next to her. Whoa! Honey, I'm home. Not your honey. Aw, play along. You're the closest thing I've got. Hello. How are things with your guest? Fine. Fine? Really? Alright. Awkward. She keeps asking questions they aren't any good answers to. Of course. Why don't you just explain things to her? It's not the way it's supposed to go. There's a process, yeah, I know. So what, you think you're going to get in trouble if you make things a little easier for her? What do you think he would do to you, anyway? Considering what he's done already, don't much feel like finding out. Right, I keep forgetting how much younger you are. You haven't had nearly as much time to get used to the way things are for you and me. Can't imagine that ever happening. Oh, it's not so bad. Especially when you have a cool neighbor. When someone interesting to talk comes by every now and then, like this guest of yours. The reason she's here, the only reason for anyone else to be here, makes it pretty hard to relish the opportunity. You need to get way less hung up on the whole life and death thing. You'll go crazy placing so much importance on it here. It's not just death, it's... Okay, maybe it's still too soon for you to relax about this stuff. But still, have you talked to your guest much? A little. Showed her around. Did you ask her anything about herself? Her hobbies and interests? Well, there's the amnesia problem to contend with. That doesn't mean she's forgotten everything. But you could still recall some interesting stories to tell you if you asked. Why not give it a try? She'll be gone in less than a week. So enjoy the time you have. That will only make the end so much harder. Alright, I get where you're coming from. The poor girl must be so bored. Why don't you send her to visit me tomorrow? She might like exploring the archive. We'll have some little tasks for her to help out with or something. You're not too busy. Got all the time in the world. Night, sweetheart. The archivist winks and disappears back into the shadows. She leaves the keeper alone with the light and the ships in the distance. Hundreds of them, approaching the island at a slow but unrelenting pace. That's a lot of ships. What are they doing? The guest wakes early the next day. Her dreams, no doubt influenced by the events of the previous morning, centered around her being imprisoned in bare, isolated cells. Several variations on that theme haunted her throughout the night, in between periods of waking. The one that struck her the most took place in a bare white room, with incessant beeping that the only soundtrack to her futile attempts to escape. That sounds like a hospital room. Unsurprisingly, her first thought upon regaining consciousness are to question the validity of the keeper's claim that she was only locked in by accident. She feels a mounting anxiety as, moments later, the keeper descends the stairs. Oh, you're awake already. Yeah. You want breakfast? There should be a couple of eggs left. I'm not hungry. Okay. Oh, almost forgot. You remember the archives? Yeah? The archivist got back late last night. Thought maybe you'd like to visit her, since you don't have much to do around here. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah? She was gone and she just got back? Doesn't that mean she has a boat? Oh, yeah. Why? So why'd I have to wait for the supply guy in his boat then? Couldn't I have to leave with her? Oh, right. With her boat, it's not... It breaks down a lot. Probably won't work. Of course, the reason I can't leave. Keeper hesitates at the bottom of the stairs for a moment, apparently unsure of what to say, before ultimately settling on a terse 4 words. Have a good day. Yeah, you too. Things are only getting more awkward between these two. It feels like she's deliberately holding it. I mean, it's pretty obvious she's deliberately holding out on the truth. And our guest here is starting to get fed up with that. Guest grips the windowsill and stares at the empty ocean, hoping to avoid arousing the keeper's suspicions by waiting a few minutes before leaving. When she can take the tension no more, She races down the steps of the lighthouse, past the remains of breakfast in the kitchen, and down the hill towards the mysterious archives. Leaf Island Archives. Hello? Anyone there? No one seems to spend much time actually inside their homes here, which is pretty weird considering how few places there are to go. At least this door wasn't locked. Let's look around. Better than going back up there. A raincoat must be an important thing to have here, judging by the weather when I first arrived. Wish I had a walking stick like this. It would make hiking around here a lot easier. The door? Oh. Oh wow, what is this? What's this doing here? It's like one of those wristbands that give you at big events or hospitals. It's like the bus ticket the guest found in her bedroom. Most of the letters stamped on the wristband are smudged and blurry. She just managed to parse a few details. The patient was a 23-year-old woman, born in 1988, but just like with the bus ticket, a warmth soon emanates through her fingers. Oh. The wistful wanderer lies on her back in a hospital bed, closed by unadorned off-white walls. Unfocused shadows come and go from the room, as the unrelenting cycle of time casts changing patterns of light on the wanderer's haggard face. Shadows' whispers echo and layer over each other, cacophony of fear and misunderstanding. I thought you were seeing a therapist. Why didn't that help? She was so excited about going back to university. Thought she was doing well. Why would you do something like this? Why did you tell us something was wrong? What did we do wrong? Never thought this was serious. How could I have known? Did I fail her? How could we help you if you can't tell us what's wrong? Can't you at least try to explain it? Why won't she talk to anyone? Is there something to do with that friend of hers? Oh no. How hard can her life even be? Oh no. She can't stay here forever. What do we do? What could anyone do? Why don't you go stay with Aunt Mary for a while? It's nice and relaxing out in the country where she lives. It'll be good for you. Oof. Hello there. The first thing the guest sees upon returning to consciousness is the archivist standing in the doorway. So that girl that was referring to had to have been Mayara's ex. We have Mayara's ex. We know that she wasn't doing well. I was going to say she admitted it. So we've seen this from before the bus trip. And the bus trip, she met a new friend, bond over their similar loneliness. Okay, the archive is standing in the doorway. Whoa! You okay, honey? I guest doubles over with sudden pearls of laughter, prompting the archivist to gingerly approach. Anything I can get for you? Some water, maybe? It's just... I don't know why it's so funny, I guess struggles to regain her breath. I wonder why I was so startled. These past few days, everything that's happened to me has been totally insane, and I felt somehow detached from it. First thing that made me jump, made me react like a normal person, is suddenly seeing a stranger in the doorway. And you're not even much more of a stranger than she is, and I just accepted having her around somehow. It just hit me all at once, I guess. How weird everything is. How weird I am for the way I've been dealing with it all. The archivist pats the guest's shoulder. I don't think your behavior is particularly strange. And when you have a concussion and... Do I? Do I have a concussion? Of course you're not going to answer me either. Of course. The guest laughs again, more sardonically this time. The archivist waits for her to finish before affecting a smile. Would you like something to drink? Tea? Coffee? The guest sighs. Fine. Tea would be nice. The guest sinks into the oversized pink couch while the archivist busies herself at a small corner kitchenette. Do you want milk or sugar? A little bit of milk. Thanks. The guest's earlier burst of manic energy has left her about as suddenly as it arrived. She finds herself simply staring at the wallpaper, losing herself in its pale patterns, until the archivist slides a cup and a saucer into her hand. Oh, thank you. Feeling better now, honey? A little. The smell of a nice pot of tea always makes me feel better. Did you want to ask me some questions now? I mean, I'm not supposed to answer too many, but I'm less of a stickler for the rules than certain other people. The guest shakes her head. To tell you the truth, I don't know if I'm ready for what I think the answers would be. I understand. I guess there's one thing I can ask. What's your name? Is that allowed? Your friend calls me Elle. Oh, my friend. The Lighthouse Keeper. She's not my friend. She cares about you, you know, but things are complicated for her. Everything feels pretty complicated for me too right now. I know. But hey, that's why I'm hoping I can cheer you up a bit. I'm a lot less a doubter than her, I promise. What do you feel like doing once you've done our tea? You could look through my little library for a good book to read. Or you could help me out with some filing downstairs. Maybe you'll catch a sneak peek of some scandalous secrets. What do you say? And why not? Let's help in the archives. I'd be happy to help you out in the archives for a while. Great. Well, we'll sit and enjoy our tea, and then we'll get right to it. Once the tea has cooled down enough for the guest to take a sip, it occurs to her that Elle never asked her what kind of tea she wanted. Somehow, she seems to have been able to choose something that almost brings a happy memory to the guest's mind. It dances just beyond reach, a tantalizing connection to her previous life, as she drinks from a china cup in this garishly pink room. Later in the afternoon, Elle drags an extra chair out of the corner of the basement and arranges it by her desk. There, now we can work together. The guest takes a seat on the desk, next to a row of filing cabinets. What do you want me to do? Well, if you don't mind. The archivist bends over and drags a large cardboard box out of the same corner. My sister's dropped off all these files a while ago, and they're completely disorganized. So of course all the work they have to do is way more important than the filing, right? So I was hoping you could help alphabetize it all. Hopefully at least most of it will be in file folders, just not in the right order. If you come across a loose piece of paper, it should have the name of the file it's supposed to be in on top. Does that sound okay? Sure, I can do that. Great, thanks. Elle takes a file out of one of the cabinets and sits down at the desk with it. Next to her, the guest takes one of many files out of the box on the ground. It's fairly thin, only containing a few papers. The tab on the top reads, Wolf, Marjorie. She can't resist sneaking a peek. After checking that the archivist seems absorbed in her own work, the guest surreptitiously slides one piece of paper out of the file. Considering the strangeness of the exercise of these archives and everything surrounding them, the guest was expecting something equally abnormal in the files. Everything she can feel she can get away with reading seems to be entirely mundane information. Name, date of birth, gender, marital status, and so on. Something that looks like the details of a dream. Like details a dream this Marjorie person had once catches the guest's eye. At the same time, the archivist looks up to retrieve another document from a drawer. The guest immediately begins rearranging files with vigor. Alphabetically by last name, right? Yep. This will be near the bottom, okay. Got it. Just going to keep organizing files. She takes two more files out of the box. Carson Deborah, and Martinez Alberto, begins an alphabetical pile on top of Wolf Marjorie. Elle's attention diverted back to her own papers. Guest makes one more attempt to glean some information about these people whose information she's handling. Upon opening Deborah Carson's file, she notices something slightly strange. The birth date listed would put Deborah at around the guest's age, at least as far as she can remember. But an enclosed picture shows an elderly woman. Eyebrows knitted, the guest closes the file again. She slides a few more into their place in the alphabet without looking inside, fighting against the urge to ask Elle about the incongruous picture, potentially sating her curiosity, but also admitting to her transgression. As the pile on the desk grows larger, she compromises with the decision to ask a more general question. So, can I ask who these people are? Elle doesn't look up from her work, which appears to be jotting down some numbers on the file she took out of the drawer. Oh, they're no one in particular. What, there's no reason why you have all these files on people? This time Elle stops her writing and gives her guest a reassuring smile. I don't mean to be secretive. Sorry. I know you've been getting enough of that already. I mean exactly what I said. There's nothing especially significant about these people in these files. It's essentially a random sampling of all currently living people. That box is, at least. What's it for? Elle taps her pen against her chin. Call it a demographic survey. My sisters and I collect information on people, and we use the information we have to make predictions about living conditions in the future. Or something like that. Do you have a file on me in there? She wonders what might be in her own file. Details about her murky past. Photograph of how she looked without facial injuries. Or photograph of someone else. We might. It's not unlikely. Elle turns back to her work. Too bad I wouldn't know what name to look for. Guest sighs and returns to her alphabetization. Sorry, I know it's not the most interesting work. You know, I don't actually mind it that much. I think just putting things in alphabetical order would be a bit monotonous. I've always found it kind of satisfying to get everything neat and organized. I'll make you a nice dinner as thanks later on, okay? Okay. The two of them spend the rest of the afternoon working alongside each other in companionable silence, and the guest makes no further attempts to examine the files. Although she isn't sure if it's out of a fear of being caught, or a fear of what she might find. Once the files from the box are organized and sorted into the right drawers, the guest leaves the archivist to her work and heads out to the beach. She sits down and watches the water as it laps against the shoreline and then recedes back out to the sea. The pattern has a relaxing effect on her, and a while later she finds herself wondering how much time has passed. As she dusts the sand off her clothes and heads back to the archives, she sees their owner rushing out of the door. Oh, there you are. I'm sorry it's gotten so late. I said I would make you dinner. You must be starving. It's okay. I'm just watching the ocean. It's peaceful. I like to do that too. Still, I would hate to go back on a promise of food. You can start dinner right now if you want. The offer awoke a hunger in the guest that she hadn't felt since she arrived on the island. Well, if it's not too much trouble. Tell you what. I'll run to the lighthouse right now and tell the sourpuss up there that you're hanging out with me for the night. I'm sure she won't complain about having more time to sit around by herself, practicing angry faces or whatever she does. That is, if you want to stay here for the night. I just think it might not be safe walking up that hill after dinner in the dark. I have plenty of pillows and blankets. It'll be a sleepover. The guest weighs her options, sleeping in the cramped archives alongside this bubbly, talkative stranger, or in the cold lighthouse under the watchful eye of the other one. It doesn't take too long to come to a decision. Sure, a sleepover sounds fun. Great, be back in a bit. She races up the hill, hair streaming behind her in the sunset. I do like Elle. I do kind of like the Lighthouse Keeper, though she seems like she's definitely struggling with this. with her duty a lot more than Elle is. And Elle definitely mentioned that the Lighthouse Keeper is much likely that it's Rose that we saw in that vision. But Elle did mention that Rose is way, way younger than her, so that would make sense if Rose wasn't quite used to this sort of work. Was still struggling to handle compartmentalizing her feelings for the people who might come through here for whatever reason. Anyway, once night has fallen on the archives, the guest watches as their proprietor fashions a collection of pillows and blankets into some kind of nest on the basement floor. The room's tall bookshelves cast long, dark shadows in the limited candlelight. I would really be fine with sleeping on the couch, you know. This is way more fun. It's like a real sleepover. Elle blows out the candles before flopping onto one of the 2 makeshift mattresses and gesturing for a guest to do the same. What? Oh, okay, fine. Oh, that's cute. The guest sinks down into her bed for the night and finds it surprisingly comfortable. Elle grins as she shifts some pillows into their ideal position. I used to do this with my sisters all the time when we were young. We'd wait until we thought our parents were asleep, then sneak into each other's bedrooms to lie on the floor together, telling jokes and stories. Of course, our mother would always catch us because our giggling was so loud. She tried to teach us to not to be afraid of the dark, but that wasn't the problem. We weren't scared of being alone in the dark, we just preferred to be together. How many sisters do you have? 2. I'm the middle one. Sounds nice. Having sisters you're close with. Yeah, it is. I mean, we disagree sometimes. We're all pretty different. My older sister is really cynical. My younger sister is much more optimistic. You always end up kind of mediating between them. So I have a theory here. We never stay angry at each other for long. Well, that's good. Now that her eyes have adjusted to the darkness well enough to see Elle's face, the guest finds herself scrutinizing her features, wondering what her sisters might look like. I wish I could tell you something about myself or my family, but that's okay. You can tell me a story instead. Yeah, I have a theory here that Elle is the middle sister of the 3 fates in Greek mythology. I want to say the middle sister is the one who... Like we had Clotho who spun the thread of fate, Lachesis who measured the thread of fate, then Atropos who cut the thread of fate when the time came. The middle of the fates, I believe, determined a person's destiny. Essentially measuring the thread of fate, measuring how much time they had. Determine their destiny, hence why a random sampling of people coming to her quarters. Pictures of them in old age despite their birth dates, making them only currently 23 by the guest standards. That's just my thought. The archives are just measuring how long they're gonna live. I don't remember any stories either. Then make one up. I don't think I'd make up a good one. Come on, please. Tell me a bedtime story. The guest laughs. Okay, fine, I'll try. And no guarantee of quality, though. Elle pulls her blanket up to her chin and looks at the guest expectantly. Oh my gosh. That's ridiculous. That's adorable. Once upon a time, there was a, giant. There was a giant. Ooh! Actually, there were 2 giants. They lived across the sea from each other. One of them challenged the other to a duel, so they built some rock columns into the water so that they could fight on neutral territory between their homes. And then... Then... The guest sighs dejectedly. What? I don't know, I remember that, I think. I can't remember how it goes. I don't know if they fight, or if one of them runs away. Make it up then. What would you do? If I was a giant? Yeah! If I was a giant, I guess I'd be strong enough to fight another giant. If I was me, I'd run away. You would at least give it a try? Fighting a giant on a bunch of rocks in the middle of the ocean? I'd fall off and drown if the giant hadn't crushed me already. You sound like my older sister. I think a human might have an advantage against a giant. You could dodge quickly, maybe climb up his back. Get up on his back! In theory, maybe. Someone could do that. Not me, though. You never know until you try. How ironic that we made the... How ironic that the flashback called her the Wanderer. When, we're making a Shadow of the Colossus reference. Are you threatening to make me fight a giant? Ah, no, I don't know any giants. Not anymore, anyway. I'm going to sleep. Your jokes make me tired. It's not a joke. My aunt was a giant. I really am tired. Okay, good night. The guest rolls onto her back, looking up at the stone ceiling of the archives. For a moment, she imagines that she can see right through it, all the way to the canopy of unfamiliar constellations above. Thanks for letting me stay here. I feel a lot more comfortable here than up there. The guest turns back to the archivist and sees that she's already half asleep. A sliver of moonlight shining through the basement's small windows illuminates her face, framed by her long hair spread out across the pillow. Good night, Elle. That night, the guest dreams of an infant visited by 3 women in long, flowing dresses. The middle of the 3 women is dressed in white. She smiles as she lifts the child into her arms and looks into its round, unblinking eyes. To her left, a radiant woman in blue also gazes lovingly at the child. To her right, a stern woman in green remains a step back, her face partially obscured by shadow. So I gotta be right there. It said that talking about the 3 fates, it said that they visited newborns a certain period of time after they were born to determine their fate. So, the woman in blue has to be Clotho. The woman in white is Elle. The woman in green is Atropos. Heck yeah. This woman in white extends her shadows to offer the child back to its nervous mother. The scene fades and the guest wakes up. She's back on the floor of the archives. Where Elle had been sleeping, there's now only a disheveled pile of pillows and blankets. Shivering in this chilly basement, the guest wraps one of her own blankets around herself before ascending to the main hall. I gotta say, this is, again, right up my alley in terms of story and theme. Loving this so far. I'm going to save here. When we return, we're going to hopefully learn more about Elle and Rose. Because that really interesting pair of characters in this island. Really interesting to see just what this island is to begin with. Clearly some kind of purgatory. Some kind of place to guide lost souls. Hopefully here for sure next time, though. So until next time, until then, thanks for watching.